And speaking of matters, I am so excited now. And this is going to be a hopefully fun and entertaining conversation. I'm so excited to have Kellie Williams, most fondly known as Laura Winslow from Family Matters, joining me as our next guest. But let's take a look back.
I cannot believe you showed up at the party. And looking like that?
Trust me, young lady. What I look like is the least of your worries.
How could you do this to me, Mom?
Do this to you? You know perfectly well you were supposed to be home by midnight.
Mom, I told you. I lost track of time. Why are you freaking out like this?
Because we have rules, Laura. And as long as you're living under my roof, you better abide by them.
Mom, do you have any idea how humiliated I was tonight? Everyone was staring.
None of this would have happened if you had come home on time.
Mom, none of this would have happened if you just stopped treating me like a child.
Treating you like a child? I'll stop treating you like a child when you stop acting like a child. Now go to bed. You're grounded for a month.
I'll never forgive you for this, Mom. Never.
Whoa, Kellie, what a scene. What a scene. And
what a scene, all right, because you know that wouldn't have worked any other place but on TV.
Well,
how you doing, Miss Denise?
I'm good. I'm doing great. I'm doing awesome. Great. No, I brought back memories because I had one of those moments. I had a couple of those moments, but I'm like, ground me. I had a good time at the party anyway.
Oh no, not me, because my mother was a nut. I didn't play those kind of games.
I hear you. I hear you. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I am glad to have you with us, to talk about your life, your journey, what's been happening since Family Matters. We got some catching up to do. What's going on in Kellie Williams Jackson's life?
Well, of late, I moved back to this area, but of late I've been producing with my father and my stepmom, and we have a production company called Dream Merchant Media, in which we produce a lot of made-for-television movies.
Interesting. Okay, and so you're in front of the screen now. You're doing production work. What's the difference like? What is that experience for you?
It's still storytelling.
Okay,
but mostly behind the scenes is doing a lot of grunt work, trying to make to gather all of your friends together to get something done. So when you're an actor, you just show up and do your job. When you are a producer, you're gathering all the resources to get the project made.
You say you're back in the area, and I forgot. I should have remembered that you are here because you're from this area, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Where?
I was born in DC and I grew up in Forestville, right outside of the city.
Okay. All right. So how did a lot of people, and this is interesting to me because, there are a lot of young folks who just, who are interested in the arts, right? Mm-hmm. And it's I think DC helps to prepare us, but isn't the place where the opportunities always are. What do you have to say about that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think that there are, obviously, there's so many performers who've come from here, Dave Chappelle, Martin, all of these performers that are from here. I think that there's a small community of people who just enjoy this work. And once you get out there and start putting your work out there, I think that you usually attract people of like minds. Because being here, I've actually met up with a lot of production companies and performers and behind the scenes people who just enjoy the process. And they love working on film and television programs, love telling our stories, love doing the whole thing from soup to nuts. So, I think it's here. You just have to find the people.
All right, because every time I turn around, I hear somebody, I'm going to New York, or I'm going to LA, I'm going to Atlanta. And
that's why I kind of moved back here, because I wanted to connect with other like minds. People, you don't have to go there anymore. Specifically, with the advent of the internet, all you need is an iPhone and some friends.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So the productions, the work that you all are doing, what sort of the topic areas? What are you most interested?
Well, it's usually, because family is my brand, it's usually things surrounded around family scenarios, mostly Christmas movies right now. That seems to be our sweet spot at the moment. But things that tell a story of families. We're a family and we enjoy working together, and we like to tell stories about families.
So you've done a couple of Christian movies. Talk about what those have been. It's not, I assume that we can go. Movies. Yeah, we can go watch them now, right?
Correct. It's a Family Matters Christmas and Christmas in Xander Point are on all the streaming platforms.
Right. Okay. All
so
right.
Those are the two films that I've done most recently. I was also participated with Mega Mind Entertainment, who's also she's a fantastic producer, Tressa, who is a local producer who's producing films left and right. She's doing a lot of great work. And she produced the BMF movie here, directed by Vivica Fox. So we're inviting people here. We're working with people here. We're connecting. It's a strong community.
That's interesting. I'm glad to hear that. So when you're in the process of producing folks, how do you solicit the support? Actors and where do you find those folks?
Well, I think that's the thing that people don't understand. I think people think that you have to have all of this grand things. And for some people you do, but most times performers and creatives, they just want to work. So, as long as the environment is ripe and you're doing something and you give people an opportunity to work, people love just doing what they love to do.
Right. And, also, given, that you were, your nomination at the International Christian Film and Music Festival, let's talk about faith. And how does faith influence, the work that you do and the work that you produce? How do you write that in there?
Well, if you're a person of faith, that's all I have really. Do you know what I mean? So obviously I wanted to highlight that in the work that I produce as well. And so just gathering people of like minds who are also believers who want to produce family content and stories that reflect their belief system and their values. Because I think that's really my goal now, is to really socialize people into a certain value system that I grew up with, that I wrote a book with my best friends, and that's what we really wanted to tell a story about our upbringing, because we so value living here in the 80s and there was a Howard University Children's Theater with Kelsey E. Colley and Melvin Andrews.
I remember.
And they had they had gathered just a great amount of talented kids, and we used to perform all over the place, and we had a good, I met my best friends there. We've been friends for 40 years now.
That's amazing.
So, it's just the creative experience, and the creative process is just it's a great thing. And I wanted to try to recreate that again.
So, talking about you and your friends, and that's the other thing that's sometimes so unfortunate, Kelly. We know that we have like our friends when we were kids, and then our paths take us to different places. Yours took you to national television.
Right.
And I don't know where they went, but right. How were you able to sustain or maintain those friendships and then come back together? What was the thread that kept you all together?
Well, I'm not exactly the most gregarious person you've ever met. So listen, I held on to people who was willing to hold on to me, right?
Got you.
But we met at that children's theater at Howard. And we just, again, I don't think that people, really know what it was like growing up here in like the early to mid 80s. And it just was a great time. We had a great time together. The city was really ripe with a lot of opportunities, and we enjoyed it together. So I mean, we never wanted to. It never crossed my mind that we wouldn't always be friends.
What was your neighborhood? Where were you?
Well, my family neighborhood is at 11th and K.
Okay.
But my parents moved out to Forestville, Maryland, too.
Right. So those friendships, did they start in the city, and then you were able to maintain them once you moved outside?
They started at the Howard University.
At the theater. Okay. All right.
So every summer they offered a children's theater program where you would do all these productions, and they would teach you all these techniques, and you would get to hear from people, famous people who would come to talk to you about having a career in the arts. So, I mean, it was just really rich and really like it was so good. You should really talk to them. Kelsey E. Colley and Melvin Andrews, they are like really, really, really titans of children's theater, and really, just the creative process for young people. They're really great people.
I would almost bet, Kelly, since we just celebrated our 60th anniversary, that somewhere in the archives of the Washington Informer, we may even have a story on you and them. I know we covered the children's theater.
So you get a side ponytail.
Might be. That was a popular hairstyle in those days.
I watch the show now, and every episode is like the ponytail that's like sticking up. I was like, I'm gonna kill my mom. What in the world?
Yeah, that was well, I don't know if it was it your mom, or was it your mom saying, Kelly, go in there and do something with that hair, and that's what you came out with?
I'm gonna go stick with my story. Okay,
all right. So that's interesting, because you're producing movies, now you've done a book. What was that experience like? I mean, really getting together and putting your minds together to create this book.
You know how you sit around and you reminisce about the old times, and how good it was in this. And we really do. We just value our upbringing, like adults, and how rich the city was back then, and how many programs there were for young people. So, that you were enriched in any way that you were interested. So we wanted just to document that time in our lives, and how great it was, and how important the adults were, and how much they poured into us, and how much there was to do, and how we traveled around together, and how we learned about Oedipus Rex, and how we did, productions down at the Capitol, and this, it just was just remembering what a great time it was. We wanted to document it.
I'm glad you are sharing that with us, because many people think back, especially in DC, about the 80s, and they're comparing it to sort of crack epidemic and all that kinds of stuff that was going on in the city. But at the same time, you're saying that young people were still having positive experiences, being nurtured in the arts and other areas, and we don't contrast that, and that's even happening today.
Yeah,
I mean, does that bother you that
it really does? Even when you talk to people from this area, even about Marion Barry, like how my parents have stories about how he created summer job programs, and I have great stories about how he helped people and created summer job programs, but also like the amount of resources that were available to young people, and how concerned he was with the people he represented. You know what I mean? And people see it one story, but they didn't live here. They don't know what it's like. And what a great man he was, and how helpful he was to generations of people, and what the city offered so many folks. So that's important. And I think it's, like you said, it's important to tell the other side of the story, because this is a great place to live. It was a great place to grow up, and it was a great time to grow up, at least for me.
You know, I also acknowledge, and we talk about a lot about that on the show, that even today there are a lot of opportunities for young people. We spend a lot of time talking about what's not available, but with so many nonprofits, of course, they're struggling right now. But with so many nonprofits and Department of Recreation and other programs inside and outside of the city. But getting young people engaged and involved, you know, what would you tell if you had a megaphone, right, and could just ride through the neighborhoods and talk to young folks? What would you tell them today?
Well, that we as adults, we need to be there. We need to pour back into the young people that are here. I just remember there being so many responsible adults everywhere, willing and ready to pour into us, ready to give. You know, I used to go on auditions. Like my parents, if they didn't have something, then they could call somebody else. They give you 2 rolls of quarters, or you know what I mean. Like it was really, it just was so rich, and so like such a fertile place for people to grow up in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I guess also because of
we just have to be more responsible,
right?
So in the same way.
How could anybody actually that's hearing this conversation that says, "Oh, I'd love to hook up with Kellie, see if I could be in one of her movies"? What would you tell them?
Absolutely, contact me on all social media as Kellie S. Williams or Kellie Shaneen Williams. And we're always looking for people. We love working in our community, and we love working with people who are of like minds and who want to create great stories about life and our experience and our values.
And I love this flyer. It's beautiful for people who may not have professional acting training.
Yes.
What are there still opportunities for them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And for some people, they want to be a part of the creative process, but they don't want to be in front of the camera. You can be a makeup artist. You can be, you can be behind the scenes. There's so many things to do. You may be a great cook, so good for craft services. Or, there's so many pieces to the puzzle that goes along with it. We could use you somewhere.
Wonderful. So what's next? You got any projects in the oven right now?
Well, just recently, Christmas in Xander Point was released on several streaming platforms, and the book is now out. So we're just pushing that. That's it.
That's good. I mean, that's keeping you busy, and
being a mom.
How many kids do you have?
2 kids.
How old, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, 14 and 12.
Oh yeah, you're right in the thick of it.
Oh God! And guess what? I'm in the thick of it, and I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm telling all young girls, don't wait till you're an old lady to be having these kids and you still running around 50 years old trying to keep up with soccer practice and all this kind of foolishness.
Yeah, Shevry saying they keep you young, which
I don't know about that.
I don't either, really. But I'm waiting for that scene to happen in your house, the one we just saw you in. It's coming.
Right.
But I guess before we close out, I just want to know, kind of what keeps you lifted, what keeps you inspired and sort of feeds your creative juices. What is it that, Kellie is like, makes her tick?
Well, God, obviously.
Yeah.
And my kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They need to be able to grow up in a world like I did, where they're, the ground is fertile and, it's really rich with opportunities and people who support them and who give them their time and attention, just like I had, I think.
Yeah. We know when we see our grandkids, did it work or did it not work?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm going to say, which has nothing to do with anything, but I love that necklace. It is gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It says a lot. It's not too much. It's just right. I appreciate it.
It's too much, but it ain't done till it's overdone, right?
I hear you. Oh God. Well,
Miss, you are lovely. You know that.
So are you. You know, we have to get together. I might find a part in one of your movies. So I'll be reaching out.
You with a good time.
Exactly. So Kelly Williams, thank you so very much. Jackson, I don't want to leave Mr. Jackson out.
Yes, because ain't nobody else crazy enough to marry me.
Tell him we said hi. Tell him, God bless. Tell him take care of you and the girl and the kids, because it's a girl and a boy.
Girl and boy.
All right. Yeah. All right. So again, thank you so very much for spending some time with us. As you start doing a new project or something. Don't forget us here at Let's Talk. We want to talk about it.
Oh, I hope you didn't. You didn't know? By offering this interview, we BFFs.
All right. The book is coming out soon.
Absolutely.
All right. Kelly, take care. Have a wonderful weekend. All right. Okay. Bye-bye. Where do you come to get all